All right, if you saw our last video, that was part 1 of walking you through scholarship applications, what your student absolutely does not want to miss, and what they can leave out when it comes to applying for scholarship money. So in today's video, I want to go through the rest of our 7 steps on walking you through category by category or section by section of scholarship applications. This is what we do at the scholarship system. We've helped families get well over $15 million to date because we have seen so many applications. And in fact, it's based on my own experience of getting 6 figures in scholarships and graduating debt-free. Now, make sure you hit subscribe because every week I have a new strategy for you to work towards that debt-free education with your student. Hey there, my name is Jocelyn Pearson, founder of the Scholarship System. And this is what we do. We help families overwhelmed by the cost of college secure scholarships so they can help their student avoid student loan debt. And again, this is part 2 of my walkthrough of scholarship applications, what to include and what not to include. Let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, let's keep going down the application. So we are pretty much literally walking you through the application. So step 5 is to tell a story in the essays. So once we get through that basic information, the attachments that are required, now we're working on those essays. And this is where your student's personality can really shine. So committees, keep in mind, our most recent scholarship that the scholarship system gave out, we had over 1,000 applicants. So we have to read a lot of essays. And so it's very important that those essays stand out and shine so that we can remember the applicant. What we tell parents to do is to encourage your student to open with a specific moment or a turning point in their life. A lot of them will try to open up with a quote, not really as impactful. We want to make it really memorable. Can that start? Sometimes it can be a strong starting point, but usually a specific moment and painting that picture, showing, not telling, will be much more memorable. We also want to focus on growth, on resilience, on how that experience ties into your student's future plans, and then bonus points if your student can connect it to the scholarship's mission. I go into way more depth on all of these in the scholarship system. Literally, that course is how to find the best scholarships that have less competition, and I go through each step of applications with tons of tips. So again, check out that free webinar. You can learn more about the scholarship system there at thescholarshipsystem.com/free webinar. But I'm just thinking, if this is helpful to you, the course is this on steroids. All right, continuing though, what we want to avoid are cliches like I've always wanted to help people, but without an example. We want to show actual examples of us doing. So you don't want your student just to say, I help people, or I'm a good leader, or I'm a hard worker. We don't want to just tell them that. We want to show it, paint a picture. We also don't want to necessarily share hardships that don't really tie back to how, if we can't tie it back to how it impacted us or our future, your student shouldn't just throw out a story like that just to get kind of brownie points. It needs to tie into the essay and to their future. And then another thing to avoid here is just reusing the same essay without tweaking it for each application. I've reused mine many times and it worked, but I always fine-tuned and tweaked it, always. Now, I do have an essay writing playlist on YouTube, so we will link to that in the description as well, or you can find it here. Check that out for more tips on essay writing. And again, for those in the scholarship system, you can find way more details in step 5. All right, now step 6, and this is not our last one, but step 6 is to double, triple, quadruple check everything before submitting. So before hitting submit, we want to go through the application together. Is every required field filled in? That's a tongue twister. Have we filled in everything that's required, and even what's optional that we are willing to share? Are any kind of required materials, any kind of attachments uploaded, clearly named, professional, clean, formatted well? If someone else has to submit something on our behalf, do they know how? Do they know when? Are they going to meet the deadline? Is the essay within any kind of word or character limits? Are names spelled correctly everywhere? And really, is everything spelled correctly everywhere. So these are just some quick checks that you can keep in mind when walking through the final product of a scholarship application. Now, a quick tip for parents, if this is an online application, you can screenshot the confirmation page or print it or save it, the email, so that you have proof of your student submitting it, or make them do that. They should know how to do that. But either way, document that it was submitted in case they're ever told, no, we didn't get your application. Okay. The last step is to follow up, or to have your student follow up. We want your student doing the communication here. That'll leave an impression in a positive way as long as they do it right. But if the scholarship mentions interviews or deadlines for announcements or additional requirements that they might have, we want any dates that they will be giving updates on our calendar so that we can keep an eye out. And if we are unsure, we can follow up so your student can reach out and find out more information. If there's an interview, we have a whole mini lesson on that inside the course as well. So comment below, has your student submitted a scholarship application? If so, did you do all these things, or do you feel like you might have missed a step or two? If so, which step? What do you think was new for you to consider when it comes to really perfecting that scholarship application? But that said, parents, if you're watching this, know that your role is to help be an organizer, an encourager, gentle reminder system, not the writer. You can be a proofreader, but we want to finalize, not create from the get-go. I know that's so hard when you feel like you can do such a great job, but it really does just hinder your students. So that said, hopefully I gave you some helpful tips on how you can be involved and help your student increase their chances of receiving scholarships without hurting them. But overall, by ensuring we're following the rules, being meticulous, reviewing everything, telling a unique story that's memorable. All of this can help your student create a scholarship that will get noticed and remembered rather than get deleted or ignored. Okay, so that said, that wraps up part 2 of our scholarship application walkthrough, what to say and what to skip. So if you missed part 1, we can link to it in the description below. You can go back and check out those. But overall, there are 7 main tips that we shared, or main sections that we went through. But the biggest thing for you parents that I want you to get out of this is that you are the guide when it comes to this. You are the one keeping track of deadlines, finding legitimate scholarships, which, by the way, my free webinar can help you do, finding legitimate scholarships with less competition. Again, you can just go to thescholarshipsystem.com/free webinar for that. But you are the one that is really the reminder system. You are the encourager. You're helping review materials, but you're not doing this for your students. I promise you, doing it for them, you might think it's giving them a leg up, but you're only shortcutting their future, okay? So hopefully these tips give you lots of ideas on where you can help and where your student needs to own this. But overall, by telling a unique story, by staying focused, by watching the rules and the common pitfalls, and making sure we're submitting everything that we need to in the correct order and following all the rules they have put in the details, all of that will increase our students' chances of winning. And so we want to make sure that we're monitoring them and supporting them so that they can do that. All right, again, hit subscribe. I've got new videos for you coming every single week, and I will see you in the next video.